So mark my words. Everyone who thought he was a hero after he won the election, they've just demonized him. Now they're going to turn him back into a hero again, and it'll probably be synchronized with what you shared earlier, the next Fed meeting. What did I just show you on this XRP chart? This dump down over here into
Yep.
when? Right into around the Fed meeting. Now I have one more last thing to share, so you don't think what I'm showing you here is just make believe. For some reason, all of our events lately have been on specific dates. We have the 2/2 date. I know you said February 3rd earlier, but people need to remember that that was just the daily close. We actually were having all this chaos start on February 2nd, the 2/2
Hmm.
date. That's symbolic of the 33rd day of the year. Then we have on March 3rd, we have this event with Trump again, where the Truth Social post happens
Oh
on
yeah, perfect.
3/3 Gregorian date, and then it's a Twin Towers candle is what I call it. So you have the pump and dump with the same, pretty much same volume either direction. Then you have on the 4/4 date, we have the whole thing start with the tariffs. So the stock market completely takes a shit. Let me get back to the S&P so you guys could see like what is Waters talking about. I'm talking about this. Okay. We have this major move into the 4/4 date, April 4th. Market closes on Friday. Jim Cramer comes out, expect a Black Monday, right? Okay. Well, if we look at some of the stats here on the closures, we had this 38 thousand point Dow. The following day we had Bitcoin at the 83K level. Dude, I don't know what the hell's going on in this market, but it's synchronizing so well with numerology.
Yeah.
Just like kind of where I want to wrap up this idea is like we have 4/4, and then we have 4/7 is our crazy fucked up day, the quote unquote Black Monday. And we were just talking earlier about how we have the 47th president. So you have April 4th through April 7th was like our market reset in a way. It was all the hedge fund liquidations, margin calls, etc. happened throughout those two trading days. And then we had the Bitcoin, the 74K crash. We had, everything I was saying about Trump being the 47th president. It's wild, man. So I'm thinking because I started this whole 2/2 date, 3/3 date, 4/4 date, Cinco de Mayo is coming up. Will they do
Mm-hmm.
something weird on Cinco de Mayo, which synchronizes with the next time Chair Powell speaks? Probably. I didn't look at the exact date of the week that will be. Let me quickly check that while I have my calendar here. So it's going to be a Monday, even better. The
Yep.
fact that it's a Monday is great because what do we see in our pattern? Well, February 3rd was a Monday. We have March 3rd. It was a Monday. We have April 7th. It was a Monday. What the fuck? So Monday, Moon Day, day of Moony, money. This is all just liquidity. And they're using the Friday market close, giving us this time to the weekend. We've been seeing these insane CME gaps opening to the upside or the downside on Bitcoin every time they're getting filled. And the relationship that we're having now with all of the markets it's like it's synchronizing. And I think 5/5 will probably be maybe, and I don't want to put myself on blast here, but it might be like one of the really sick opportunity, like last minute opportunities we have if we are to see downside pressure.
Hmm.
The only other thing that I could say to round this out is they love the number three. They love doing things in threes. So did we have our three events already? We had 2/2 on the 33rd day of the year. We had March 3rd, 33 Gregorian date. And what would be 33 days later?
Hmm. Hmm.
So we take
Hmm.
33 days. Let me see if I could get back to this on my chart. But when we take from the March 3rd date over 33 days later, it brings you to the 4/5 date, literally right into that weekend where we had everything go
Wow.
down in our markets.
Wow.
So I'm postulating that we might have already had our 33 rituals.
Hmm.
Now it's time for us to have some positive. I don't know if the Fed is gonna do what we want them to do. I feel like everyone wants them to do what we want them to do, and that's where I'm a little cautious.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that Trump returning to being the hero again because he's been calling for the Fed to drop rates. And he's been saying that they're late and that they're always late. He's been beating them up and talks of, oh, he might fire Jerome Powell, right? So if that does come true, they cut rates, then Trump gets to come back out, grandstand that he was right, Powell was wrong, they were late, and he becomes the hero again, along with whatever else is happening at that time. It's funny that you mentioned that the 3-3 there because I had put on my chart, my Doofus Moron TA, how we did this triple tap back in December, back testing to $2 before we shot back off to $3.40. And we did the same thing here in February into March, where we triple tapped that $2 level. Obviously, we broke down to $1.70 in February. But basically, I was saying, hey guys, watch out. We did the triple tap in December, then we took off. We did the triple tap here just now. We're about to take off. And then he really killed us with this trade war. And so I was wrong on that. But it is funny how the world works in that way. I guess because I wanted to finish off by talking about your long-term wealth plan, and we've gone so long, and I've had so much fun. I mean, the analysis that you've broken down there, I've been learning a lot as you go. I want to hone in on your specific XRP plan, and then let's take that into a broader discussion about how you're planning on, securing your wealth and your life outside of crypto and after crypto, maybe, right? So I want to preface this with kind of my expectations for XRP. I believe, in the next couple months, maybe we do it later this year at some point. We're breaking out into price discovery for XRP. I think that I've seen you talk about $6 to $7. I'm right in the same area. I believe that we need to have one run up where we go into price discovery and we get out all the sellers that are going to take profit, and myself included. I'm going to be taking some profit too. As we approach $10. I don't think that we break above $10 on this first wave up. And I'm talking about first wave into price discovery. And it's just mostly psychology and the fact that you have so many people that have been bag holding for so long and, like myself, want to shave off a little bit as we approach those levels. And then the traders will play it a little bit bigger. But my take is that we're not going to break above $10 until we get through that moment, right? And I do believe that comes later this year. And so your take on kind of that, just we need to run up, we need to get this out of the way, and then we can talk about maybe moving up into double digits and beyond at the end of this year, into next year. You already talked about reset into 2026, 2027. In fact, we actually just got a prediction from Standard Charter, a major bank here in the US, of a $5.50 XRP this year, $8 by next year, $10.40 by 2027, and they predict $12.50 by the end of Trump's second term in 2028. So that's where Standard Charter's at. My analysis says, we're definitely going to double digits eventually. But we got to flush out the sellers between $5 and $10 before we can do so. But where do you stand with kind of your expectations for XRP on those levels? And I don't know if you want to mention maybe if you're going to be taking profit or, what are your considerations for XRP breakout?
Yeah, one thing I've done very methodically over the past 2 to 3 years has been accumulating XRP very strategically off of big pivot points. So I've packed my bags mostly on XRP to the point where I'm not really concerned of where these crazy prices could eventually be. I would just be very cautious in entertaining high levels in the immediate short term. So I agree with what you're saying in your exit strategy that you revealed about, not expecting a double digit XRP perhaps during the calendar year of 2025. I don't necessarily know if I believe in the theory that we're going to be continuously moving up through price discovery for XRP or any assets through 26 and 27. I strongly disagree with that actually. The year of the horse is like historically one of the most fucked up years in our world. And I don't mean that because I'm trying to like sound controversial. I'm just being honest. Like this is the year where like Auschwitz and like concentration camps were being like packed up, where Asian citizens in the United States of America were being put into internment camps. It was the worst year of World War One in terms of casualties. Highest amount of deaths in Vietnam. Same issue that was going on in 2002. I love to use Chinese zodiac as a big part of my overall investments in my overall outlook on the world, geopolitical, and my investment strategy. So yeah, I'm very cautious. Again, I'm not trying to say that the Standard Charter or whomever is inaccurate or that they're wrong. I just don't agree with that outlook. Also, that crypto in particular doesn't like to do this sustained stair step move up. The only asset we've really seen do that is Bitcoin. And the only time we've really seen it proven it right in front of our faces with Bitcoin is the last 3 years. Because Bitcoin has been pumpy dumpy all the way through 2022, right? We just had a almost 80% correction through 2022. Then once 2023 came around, we've been looking fucking gorgeous on the Bitcoin chart. Perfect move up, stair step, another move up, stair step, and now we've made a third move up. And the question is, do we spend all this time in another huge horizontal trading range? Perhaps. Would that be good for XRP and a lot of other assets? Sure. But I mean, it's not proven to be the case because we just saw an 80% correction across the board in most speculative altcoins. So XRP is looking great. I don't agree with the outlook that we'll just keep stair stepping up in prices through 26 and 27. My personal outlook is that yes, $6 to $8 is a very technical move. A lot of my initial take profit targets for XRP are settled around the $7 range. I think that's a very nice level to have accomplished if you were one of those people accumulating sub $1. If you're sub 50 cents, congratulations. If you were back there when I got started with my XRP accumulation at around 25 cents, great. Like, so this is really quite a high target. And I think some people might be like, oh, why not $100 XRP? And I don't know if that's your community. It sounds like you're much more level-headed and your people are a lot more like in reality. I've entertained targets into the $14 to $15 range, but that would require a totally new shift in economic policy. Like everything would have to go super positive again. And as I said moments ago, I see 26 to be like quite an awful year in a lot of ways. I think there will be much more layoffs. I think we will absolutely be in a recession by then for sure. Housing market will continue to do what it was designed to do. Um, and I think this boomer generation is like our only hope, kind of, to not make the collapse free fall. I really much do believe that. I think most people aren't paid enough in their normal jobs to support the cost of living. It's tough for me to entertain 26 to be this year where like I'm positive. I'm very much negative on it across the board. So I'm using 25 with any relief rally or any potential push into price discovery to de-risk a very large portion of especially my crypto holdings. I don't know if I'll ever sell my physical gold. I don't really see the point of that,
Mhm.
um, which is crazy for me to say
I
because if
didn't
you
know
go
that you
back to
held gold. That surprised. I'm surprised. I didn't know that.
yeah, I hold some of it and it's like it was a it's funny because in 2021 and 22 people hated me because the XRP community particularly is much more into precious metals than like like obviously meme coin or people that are into like just speculative DeFi stuff. But I was saying that I'm not buying gold in 2021 as part of my like launch of my sharing my investment thesis with the world through what the waters above channel. And 2022 I was also like nope, and people hated that because they thought I don't know why people do this, but they like assume if you don't want to buy something that means you don't ever plan to buy it. And I
Mhm.
was like, guys, you need to understand, like, this is part of my thesis that we're moving into a Jubilee year and we're in a Shemitah year. I'm not going to go against my beliefs, like, on how this market actually works. And what happened in 2022, we had the entire market correction across the board. It was the Shemitah year. Yeah, I could pull up the chart real quick just for your audience so they could see what the hell I'm talking about. I'm going quickly to the S&P
Well,
500.
for the real ones that have been with me for the past 4 years, they know because I was citing your work on the Shemitah.
Yeah, I
And
appreciate
that's
that,
why I
brother.
was pounding the drum, putting out my recession to-do list in 2022, back when it was politically incorrect to call it a recession, even though we had technically achieved one in the first half. So yeah, my audience, they know. Yep, yep.
That's dope, man. I appreciate that. Like, so my thesis here was that if we go back into the Shemitah year, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's a 7 year cycle. It's called the sabbatical year. It's practiced in Judaism. What I'm sharing with you now is not me being against a religion or for a religion. I've realized that the Hebrew calendar is quite powerful when you're analyzing markets. And I discovered this connection to why are all of our big market crashes synchronized, and not just market crashes, guys. We're talking about like change of world order. We're talking
Right.
about like fucking world wars, like serious shit going down. So this
Yep.
isn't a joke. Now, I was noticing the pattern is not all of the Shemitahs are just like doom and gloom the whole time. Like most of them is when we top and then we have the crash.
Mm,
So we topped in right there at the start of 2022, perfectly in January. And then when you look at our correction, it was only until 1 week after Rosh Hashanah, the Hebrew New Year, was our bottom. But we pretty much corrected all through the Shemitah year.
mhm,
And then we moved into Jubilee from Rosh Hashanah here in 2022 to Rosh Hashanah here in 2023. And what I was teaching people back then is Jubilee is positive. Jubilee and the biblical Jubilee is something that happens every 50 years. And it's effectively when like land is returned back to people that it was confiscated from. Wars are put on pause. Literally, literally,
yep.
war is put on pause. Slaves are freed. This is biblical Jubilee. Okay, so what happened on the world stage during this whole year? Lockdowns are over, guys. Go back on your vacations, have fun. And then what
Mhm.
happens immediately after Jubilee's over? October 7th. When did I buy my gold? Into the weekend right before the October 7th event. Did I know October 7th would happen? Not necessarily, but did I expect a post-Jubilee event tied to specifically Jews and Israel? Yes, 100%. This V
Mhm.
shape right here, I bought my gold right there.
Right,
And
right
it's
below 1900. Wow.
and it was posted on a Red Pill podcast that I did.
Wow.
And so it's like 100% documented that I did this. And I don't know, I'm not trying to like flex right now, but it's been a pretty good move.
That's a move. That's a move right there,
And
especially for precious metals. I mean, this
yeah,
isn't crypto, right?
and I didn't buy silver because my analysis on silver was that it wasn't the play. And I
Mm,
got so much shit for that too.
mm,
And it's so strange that I got that hate because it was hate for 21, 22. I had my reason, like I had an actual investment thesis, and I wasn't just pulling shit out of my like out of nowhere. I showed people 100 years of chart history in the S&P with the Shemitah cycle and Jubilee. And I said,
yep,
guys, like I don't know what to tell you, man, but I think this is what you pay for from me. You
yep.
want to get this sauce. So
Mhm.
yeah, gorgeous play on the gold. I don't think gold is gonna stop. I think in this environment oh sorry, I think we're getting off track. Where are we going with this? The wealth
Well,
plan.
we were talking wealth and gold is part of it. I mean, I've long been talking about it too, about
Okay. I'm
how,
sorry, I didn't want to get off the rails. I
no,
was
you're
hoping that
good.
this is helpful for your audience.
It is because I didn't know you were in precious metals and I'm fascinated. I mean, this
Not silver, but
shows
gold, yeah.
this shows exactly why your program is working out so well. You didn't buy when it was necessarily popular, right? You bought when the charts were telling you, hey, the correction's coming in, and you swooped up that low really well. And I've long talked about this, and we can relate this back to our broader conversation about wealth preservation.
Hmm.
About for me, since 2022, focus on stacking cash, and then for defensive plays, I stack silver, which clearly I've done all right in silver, but gold's done really well too. But that's defensive, and that allows me to sleep like a baby at night, and also go on offense. Into the crypto investments that are very risky, is because we got cash and we got our precious metals. I start a little garden, go out there with my children and go touch some grass, right? And to me, that's real wealth. Real wealth is I get to wake up every single day here, do what I love. I can't wait for Mondays. I forget what day it is because I do this every day, right? And I got a family. Hopefully, we can produce a few more babies too, maybe, or maybe one or two more, and keep that going. Precious metals for defense, and then on offense, we can just attack these opportunities to go knock it out of the park, like we're doing on our cryptos. But I think I'm curious. I'm fascinated that you have precious metals. Are you looking at any other assets? I mean, what else are you doing to protect yourself right now?
Like I think the best investment is in yourself. So I'm big on investing in my business right now. And I think that if I could share any wisdom with anyone, and it's not to plug anything, but I was very motivated for my outlook on 26 and 27 before 25, just like I was looking towards 2023 back in 2021. I'm trying to be a couple of years ahead in my outlook, and I create accordingly. So what does that mean? Back in 2023, I already expected what was going to happen into 25, no matter who was president. And this was motivating me to be sharing my skills and my knowledge and wisdom on creating businesses, not just cryptocurrency stuff and not just this world of investing, and to teach people about the best investment of all time, which is in yourself. So I was very motivated at the start of 25 to give myself a deadline to create what is now running, and it's called Waters Above University. And in this university, which we just opened up a new cohort, and its enrollment period is still live right now, probably be open for the rest of this month. This is where I'm teaching people how to generate cash flow. So I think the solution to most of these problems is not your crypto investments. It's not your gold investment. It's to create cash flow.
Mm,
Cash flow is king.
mm,
Whatever you feel on cash, I don't really care. I've been pretty illumined to the fact that the winners in this game are always working on generating more cash flow. And what you do with the cash flow you generate now goes into your investment thesis, right? And it goes into how you're either being offensive or defensive, how you're hedging, etc. But a lot of people get too caught up in the investment side of things and then they disregard the cash flow side and then they're like miserable going to their 9 to 5. Now, that's totally fine. A lot of people are dealing with that, and I respect that. I used to be in that environment too. But what motivated me to get out of it was the sense that, like, well, things aren't going to get better. And they're especially not going to get better for people like me. And what do I mean by this? And I think a lot of you probably resonate is I'm outspoken. I don't take shit from anyone. I'm not an order follower. During C19, I knew that it would be very tough for me to get a job because I didn't want to wear a mask. I wasn't going to take the jab. Like, that's just not me. Like, I'm not that guy. So
mhm,
I think that that really resonates with so many people that have come across my work beyond just my TA skills or whatever, is they like that there's some strong masculine presence in this space that's not just shilling people like Bugattis and fucking dumb, useless liabilities.
yeah,
And to continue in my honor code, I launched Waters Above University to provide that skill and that knowledge to people who I believe, for the most part, are lacking it. And unfortunately, and I don't say this to be disrespectful to anyone, but I think the Trump situation is making too many people like bewildered and making them believe that things will get better and somehow like we'll get more jobs and everything will be fine, like some actual golden age is coming. And I want to tell all those people, like, you gotta have a less comfortable bed to sleep on. Like, it's time to wake up. Like, it's time to throw some water on your face and realize that the only new jobs that are coming are AI jobs. And that means one person will be utilizing 50 computers that are all synchronized together in the Internet of Things. There will be no new jobs coming, and any of those new jobs that are coming will just produce more expensive goods because the labor that we pay in the US is much higher than a place like China. Is it bad that we'll get jobs that will be in factories like in 3 years, because that's probably the time horizon that it'll take to implement such a thing? No. But is that going to change your life right now? That's what we want to address, guys. We want to address that, not what factory is going to be open in 3 fucking years. Okay, we need to change your life today and stop waiting around. So yeah, my number one thing that I invest in is my business. I'm always trying to think of new ways that I can be more useful to the world, and that'll allow me to share my skills. And then I start thinking about things like crypto.
right.
Or Now, to answer your question thoroughly, I am not investing in gold or silver right now. I am not investing in housing right now. I'm a little sketched out by the housing market. I I don't like to time markets, even though that's my expertise. I don't know if I'm good enough at timing the housing market. I don't know if anyone is. I mean, it's 30-year mortgages, these really long time horizon products, but I do sniff that we're in a 07, 8 kind of thing. Big difference is there's real money in this equation this time around. Like, as opposed to that time, there was like, do you have a pulse and can you write your name on this paper? Okay, here's a home. That's not the case this time around. But I do worry we have way too much credit circulating the system, not enough income, not enough cash flow for the general person. The credit system is going to bust sooner or later. I mean, I'm not sure how that's going to bode for the entire economy. And yeah, that's just a lot of stuff that worries me and keeps me more just hands off at this time, waiting for bigger corrections to scoop up land and real estate. And I do have that as part of my future outlook.
Yeah.
I think that like if I can um eventually acquire real estate, I would like to, but my thing is like I don't want to become a landlord. Like I'm it's just not my character.
Yeah.
So that's even why I've avoided it too. It's kind of like the Warren Buffett thing where he says like stick to your circle of competence. Like I'm I'm not planning on becoming this real estate mogul. Like I don't give a fuck.
Mhm.
So if I was to do it, it would probably be like out of making a business, like a retail space or acquiring land to make like a retreat center or something like that. I have a lot of those ideas and that vision for myself.
Right.
And I kind of want to spend the rest of this year and hopefully more of next year communicating with like-minded people that have a similar vision. Because what happens when the world gets worse is you need to have community. You need to have people that share a vision. And I worry that people are becoming more and more selfish in the wrong ways, in the ways that are driving us apart, even in the quote unquote truther community.
Yeah.
So if I have to spearhead some of those projects, I will. And that's kind of the energy that I'm on right now. More than becoming your own bank, I think we should create our own banks. We should create our own airports. We should create our own, transportation systems. We should create our own waste removal systems. Like everything, we're so reliant on government and these technocrats to accomplish day-to-day things when we could easily build these systems for ourselves. It just requires people to organize. And I'm not saying to create a revolution. Like the biggest fuck you to the New World Order is us peacefully just becoming self-reliant.
Mhm.
That's all. No
Hey,
process, no process needed.
throw some seeds in the dirt and watch them sprout, right? And
Precisely.
yeah, I love your energy, brother, and I love your work. There's very few people that I speak highly of who are making courses and programs. Obviously, I have my own personal group too, and I think that there's a lot of value in community, like you said. I think it's actually going to be one of the most important assets that we have. Connecting in person is even better than virtually, but on a daily basis, it's not realistic for us all to get together every day. And so that's why we have platforms like this, why we have private communities. And part of my program too is putting out that content and the resources for our community to, uh, you know, make it come in. And I keep on bringing it back. In 2022, I said, guys, figure out one, if your job's even going to be around. Like if you have to just ask your boss straight up, hey boss man, are we going to be here in 12 to 24 months? Like what's the situation like? And maybe at the time they would have said, yeah, we're still kicking. And now, they're not. That's the reality of our economy, and why I said secure your income and expand your income. Start that side hustle. If you already have a business, let's figure out how we can scale it up. And so I love the idea that that's your approach too, because it's something that I've hounded on my community as well. Is a lot of people think, oh, he's just an XRP hype guy. Well, if you peel back the onion a little bit, and if you stick around for our live shows, you come into my Discord group for our weekly calls, we're talking about all these things outside of crypto too. And I think that you've made great points about how you got a lot of traders in here, who are just here to make a quick buck, and they're going to piss it away just as quickly as they made it, even if they do get lucky on some of these meme coin plays. And
Hmm.
so I love your approach because it's wholesome. I align with your energy, even when we look at some of these timelines. 2026. There's some turbulence here, might be some rough times. You remain optimistic and you remain focused on your purpose. And I think that's why you're going to be a big winner and why your community is going to win in a massive way. And so it's always a pleasure to connect with you, man. I mean, we can't wait another couple years to do it again. We'll
Yeah.
definitely have to
No,
circle
man,
back
you got my
sooner.
email now. We should connect next month. I think it'd
Yeah.
be really good if we could make that happen because next month I think is going to be very pivotal. In
Yeah.
general, May is a very weird time frame where like post tax season, kind of everything is getting prepared for these longer days, more sunshine. Energy is just a little bit like more corrected and regulated. And I think
Mhm.
those are kind of the reasons why the market moves the way that it does seasonally. So be a good time for us to connect and see how that little move played out that I drew out on the XRP chart. And I'll probably have a new YouTube video out soon to kind of round out a little bit more. But at this time, I need to get through this weekend. I think this weekend into Monday is going to be very important energetically. So definitely everyone, if you're one of those people that's been hurting for you the past couple of weeks, I think the extreme volatility is gonna reduce soon. Like I don't think we're gonna have as much of this chaos anymore. And I think this update today with China and how the markets are like don't care at all is a sign. We're
Mhm.
gonna start to see that. And it's unpopular for me to say, but I do think this Trump becoming a hero thing is coming soon. Like I
Mhm.
think they're gonna flip the script real fast, and that May 5th date is probably perfectly timed for something to go down.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I just want to say that for anybody who's considering, where can I get more education? Waters Above is somebody that I will recommend and will continue to recommend. I can't speak personally. I've never taken any of your courses, but just what I learned from you in your free content was enough for me to profit pretty well. And I'm just waiting for our regulations to get set here in the US so I can start trading futures again. Um, but once again, for folks that are looking for a level-headed mindset and for somebody who can give you real analysis, a real education, I can't recommend many people in this space, but Jordan with his platform here is definitely one of them. And so I'm going to link up stuff down below, all of your links. Can you just give me a quick rundown now? You have the university, but I know you've had other courses and programs before. So can you just give us the quick rundown of what all is available right now?
Sure. I really appreciate, first of all, I really appreciate you having me on. And we definitely will be reconnecting soon, and it won't be a couple of years. So I want to remind everyone of that. And as for finding my work, and probably the best place to get started, it would be over in our mastermind community because it's lowest barrier of entry. It's very, very affordable, and it unlocks a whole library of stuff beyond just what I do with a weekly podcast. So that's a really good place to get started. And if you are interested in the university, what's really great about joining our mastermind community first is you unlock the only discount that's available for the university. So this is like dual pronged in a sense where you get the crypto TA stuff. You're kept up to date with what I'm doing with my investments too. So whenever I'm buying or selling, I share that over on my Patreon. And then if you wanted to join the university, you're getting everything that's going on over there. And it also includes a course within that university. So kind of covers all the bases of all my work. And I believe it's incredibly reasonably priced because the university is a 1 year. What you get is a full year for access and also a lifetime access to the course that's included. Um, so yeah, that'll be over at patreon.com/watersabove. And you could get started. I will have a new podcast out, by the way, this Sunday. So I'll be recapping everything that's gone on in these markets and setting everyone up for what I think is going to happen a week ahead. And you guys here got a sneak peek because I shared some things that I have yet to talk about on my Patreon in today's interview.
Yeah, I love it, man. This has been another great session. We'll do it again soon. Everybody, I'm going to link it up down below. Go check him out if you haven't already. I know that my community, a lot of us love your work. And even for those that don't, the beautiful thing here is that me and Jordan, we just come here and we put in the effort every day to share our thesis, to share our program. And it's up to you to decide whether you vibe or not. And one thing that I just will always appreciate, brother, is how you've stayed the course. Can't say that about everybody that have kind of come and gone, the fair weather fans, right?
Yeah,
And
man.
you stay true always. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming on the show again today. And on the way out, everybody, if you could just like this video, if you're new here, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content. And all of my community resources are available at zachrector.com. Thanks again, Jordan.
Appreciate you, brother. Much love.
All right. Everybody take care out there. We'll see you in the next one.